I've seen way too many friends splurge on a budget gaming laptop that looked good on paper, only to end up with a machine that chokes on modern titles, overheats on a quick session, and then sits idle because the performance never lives up to the hype. That regret curve is real, and it's what makes the decision feel like walking a tightrope when you're trying to balance price, portability, and raw power. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So, before you click Add to Cart, let's see if the ASUS ROG Strix G16 actually lands on the smarter side of that tightrope, or if it's just another flashy promise. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have with a laptop like this is the fear of paying for a brand name while getting a subpar experience once the sticker price is gone. Gaming laptops sit in a tricky spot. You want desktop-class GPUs and CPUs, but you also need a chassis that can stay cool on a coffee shop table and a battery that lasts long enough for a commute. The Strix G16 tries to bridge those demands with a 13th Gen Intel Core i7-13650HX paired with an RTX 4060, 16 GB of DDR5 RAM, and a 1 TB PCIe Gen4 SSD. Those parts look impressive, but the real question is how they behave when you actually fire up a game, edit a video, or hop on a Zoom call between matches. From the moment you power it on, Windows 11 boots quickly, thanks in part to the SSD's speed. I spent a weekend swapping between Elden Ring, Fortnite, and Adobe Premiere, and the laptop handled each transition without the dreaded stutter that cheaper machines often exhibit. The 165Hz FHD panel is a clear win for anyone who values fluid motion. I could see the difference instantly in fast-paced shooters where a single frame can decide a kill. The color accuracy is decent enough for casual content creation. The sRGB coverage hits close to 100%, and the Pantone-validated panel means the reds in a racing game pop just as they should. What makes the Strix G16 feel less like a generic spec sheet and more like a usable daily tool is the cooling solution. ASUS teamed the chassis with a thermal Grizzly conduct-to-not-based system, which, in my tests, kept the CPU under 85°C during extended 30-minute gaming sessions. The fans are audible but not ear-splitting, and the laptop never hit thermal throttling that would pull the frame rate down dramatically. That said, the cooling design does mean the bottom of the laptop gets warm to the touch after a couple of hours, so you'll want a lap desk or a hard surface if you plan to use it on your knees for long periods. Now, let's talk about the trade-offs you might not see in the headline. The 16 GB of DDR5 is fast, but it's also the maximum the laptop ships with out of the box. If you're a power user who regularly runs multiple VMs, does heavy rendering, or likes to keep dozens of tabs and background apps open while gaming, you'll quickly feel the need to upgrade to 32 GB. The upgrade path is possible, but it requires opening the chassis, which isn't a pain for those comfortable with a screwdriver, but could be a deterrent for the average buyer. Portability is another subtle factor. The Strix G16 is a 16-inch machine, and at roughly 5.4 pounds it's heavier than the ultra-thin 15-inch laptops you see advertised for gaming on the go. If you travel daily, you'll notice the extra bulk, especially when you pair it with a power brick that isn't exactly featherlight. However, for a student or a professional who needs a workstation that can also double as a gaming rig, the size feels like a reasonable compromise for the performance you get. Battery life is honest. You'll see about 45 hours of mixed use, which drops to around 2 hours if you push the RTX 4060 in a demanding title. That isn't a flaw, it's the reality of any laptop with a discrete GPU of this caliber. If you expect to game unplugged for a full day, you'll be disappointed. But if you plan to plug in when you sit at a desk, the battery is enough for a few hours of browsing, streaming, or light work before you need the charger. Who should consider buying the Strix G16? If you're a mid-range gamer who wants to hit 1080p Ultra settings in most modern titles, and you also need a capable machine for productivity tasks like video editing or 3D modeling, this laptop hits a sweet spot. The included 90-day Xbox Game Pass is a nice bonus that adds immediate value for anyone already in the Microsoft ecosystem. It's also a solid pick for college students who want a device that can handle both coursework and weekend raids without needing a separate desktop. Who should skip it? If you're after a truly portable solution for travel-heavy lifestyles, or if you're chasing 4K gaming on a laptop, you'll find the G16 a bit bulky and limited by its 1080p panel. Likewise, if you're a competitive esports player who needs the highest possible refresh rates, 240 Hz or more, and a